Well, there he is, Rice head coach Scott Pera, heading into year 4 with the Owls. I'm Bryan Fenley with Fox Sports Radio. Scott, it is an absolute pleasure to have you. And what are the chances? Earlier today, I had the opportunity, the esteemed opportunity, to catch up with someone you know very well, Mike Rhodes, over at VCU. And he laid down one strict order for me for this interview because I told him I was going to talk to you. And he said, tell Scott that you are not allowed to ask any James Harden questions.
Well, I don't get through many interviews without that happening. If you can pull that off, then you win.
What is a question about him that you get asked the most?
Boy, okay, that's a good question. Boy, I've done so many. I guess the number one question probably is just when did you realize or think he would be an NBA player / superstar? That's probably the most common.
What's the last thing that you texted him? I'm sure you have been able to stay in touch with him being in the NBA bubble.
So that's also an interesting question because I've texted him on every game day for what is this, his 10th or 11th year? I don't think I've ever missed one. So there's about to be a text when this interview's over of his good luck text.
His good luck. Is it the same thing every time, or do you kind of spice it up a little different?
Depends where I am and if I may have forgotten how close to game time it is. Just a good luck. And now it's just become kind of a habit or a routine I'm not going to break.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows? You have to ask him. He may be annoyed by it. I think he gets enough text, but also maybe deep down he counts on it. Who knows? But it doesn't matter. We talk, we text a lot. During the season, it's just mostly text, unless under normal circumstances, I can get over to the Rockets and see him on game day and maybe have breakfast with him after shoot around. And those are fun conversations.
Well, we know how much you mean to him and how much he supports you. And that is a relationship that on both sides means so much for each of you. Has he told you what it's like in the Orlando bubble, the dynamic of what it's like living in that environment?
So he has not. He is pretty much, I think part of his minimal responses over text is he's in playoff mode. I don't think but I do have other people I know very well in the bubble, and one of them being Neil Olshey, who's the president and GM of the Blazers.
Sure.
And I've spoken to him a few times, and it's been good for them, obviously, but it's also a very, very bizarre, situation. But, like he says, and like we've talked about, they're making it work. And for all of us on the outside, and I think you probably included, it's been very entertaining. And for multiple reasons, the guys are not jet lagged. They are not worn down. They are not exhausted from all that travel and distraction and whatever. So we're getting to see some incredible games and some incredible individual performances from these guys, from the best in the world, which has been pretty cool.
I love the optics of it too. I think it looks great on television. They do a great job with pumping in the crowd noise and the virtual fans. And I think that because it's at a neutral site, it's more advantage to the underdog because the home court advantage is not as big of a deal. And, we're seeing some of these lower seeded teams come up with early upsets in the playoffs. As far as what you're doing with this program at Rice, Coach, every year you've been here incrementally, you've increased the win total, and that percentage has gone up. Where do you think ultimately you can lead this Owls team?
I think we've been very, very pleased with the process. We stuck with it. And what does that mean? It means all the decisions that have been made to make a sustainable, long-term successful program. And that's a credit to our administration because they have supported me in those decisions to build a sustainable program and not do it, where it is up and down and up and down. We want to get it a slow, sustainable rise. Yeah, you always want it to be quick. Everybody in this society wants everything to happen immediately. But you have to look at big picture. And I've been able to do that. And I love where we sit today. I do think we can get this program in years to come, and it may not be this year. Maybe it will. I don't know. But in a top 4 position in this league, to be an 18 to 20 win program, hopefully on a semi-consistent, if not consistent basis. And that's the plan. And that's what we're going to keep striving to do.
The interesting thing about the last couple months is it's allowed you to be probably a little bit more creative with how you've been operating as a coach, doing a lot more virtual stuff. But I'm sure that in the last couple of weeks that you guys have been able to, as a team, get together in person and get some workouts and assess what you've done. How have those experiences been, given how much maybe time away you've been from each other?
Well, this has been, unbelievably unique. But I'm in an even more unique situation. Like, for example, Mike at VCU has had his players and seen them all and have been practicing, I believe, for a few weeks now. I have not seen my players. They are just now starting to get back.
Okay.
Only 4 of the 15 have even been cleared to shoot a basketball. So I've recruited kids over Zoom. I still just met on Sunday for the very first time at 6 feet distance with masks on. So you want to talk about strange. But I love the group we have. They're great kids. They're all dying to get in the gym. And we just have to be patient. We're going to follow Rice's protocols and respect everybody's ability to try and provide a safe environment for them.
When you do have that pleasure of getting everybody together, what is like a fun activity that you've maybe done in the past that you want to replicate again with the guys to help promote team bonding, something completely unrelated to basketball?
Well, one thing we love to do, and that's have the guys out to my house, and I'll put burgers on the grill and I'll barbecue, I'll cook for them. They get a kick out of that. We're fortunate enough, we have a pool. It's hotter than Houston. We can certainly jump in there and just to spend time, especially this group, to get to know each other. I mean, I got to get them together just to introduce them to each other. For example, Quincy Oliveri and Max Fiedler, 2 of our returners, they don't get back even till Saturday. So they haven't even met the 8 new guys that we have. So those, we've taken them to Dave & Buster's and done things like that. And we've gone bowling and we've gone to Top Golf. And so you do a lot of things that to get away from it and to make it fun and where they get to see coach as somebody that's not just somebody that, is living and breathing basketball 24/7. And they also get to see me as the husband and father. And because that's the most important things in my life. And I think it's important they see me in those roles as well.
And they see your golf swing. What's that like?
Shaky. There was a day it wasn't bad. At least the scoring wasn't bad. I think the swing was always bad. But when I just haven't played as much as I used to. I'm not single and a high school teacher anymore. Those summers off, I spent a lot of time on golf courses, but that was a long time ago.
But you know what? It's probably good that you're not like pro status golfer, because that means you're throwing more time into being a basketball coach. So
it's an addicting sport. I would definitely be spending more time on the course if I could be a scratch golfer.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking ahead to next season, we talked about your early expectations. And before I get into some of the new pieces that you alluded to, what's the best compliment you've ever received as the Owls coach?
Boy, as the Owls coach,
just slowly working the program up,
I get a lot. Yeah. Well, I get a lot of support from a lot of people. There's a lot of people here that want to see this program, do well, but they also understand the responsibility of the Rice coach in terms of the academic piece and the people and kids that we're recruiting. So, compliments I'll tell you what I'm really proud of. And I've got many compliments on is this team last year had the highest cumulative GPA in the history of Rice men's basketball. So you get a lot of compliments on that from a lot of people. You know, you have a 22-point comeback at Santa Barbara and win at the buzzer. You know, people are excited about that. You beat Penn, a perennial Ivy League power, and the text messages are awesome from the supporters. And so you get a lot of stuff. You know, does one single thing stick out? You know, probably James's comments. You know, when I got hired, you know, the things he said really, really, you know, warmed my heart. Is, you know, to see how happy he was for me, and to do this in the same city with him is kind of a beyond a dream, because I don't know if it's ever happened anywhere before. So there's many, you know, there's many.
Everywhere you go, he follows you from high school, going to state.
Yeah.
You have that vibe about you. And then to Houston, the interesting dynamic too, coach, is we're in this era where, you know, a lot of guys like to transfer. You know, if they don't feel like they're getting enough playing time, they feel like they can get it somewhere else. And that's just the way basketball is. It's everywhere. And here you are building that foundation, and you're dealing with guys going and guys coming, and you're trying to build something with the transfer being as prevalent as it is. How do you sift through that so that you're not in like a rebuilding mode, because you add new guys and then guys leave, and you're more in like a retooling mode, I guess I could say?
That's a terrific question. In a difficult situation for people in our position, you know, but here's the thing. I've changed kind of my tune over the last couple of years on this. And here's what I mean by that. We have done an excellent job of identifying talent that did not have high major offers coming out of high school. I am also very proud of how we have developed them. And so now when you look at, my guys haven't left because of playing time. They've left because they think the NBA dream is better at a bigger school, I guess. But when you put kids at Florida State, Vanderbilt, Virginia, Creighton, USC, there's no use me hiding behind that anymore, or hiding in a corner, or being so angry and frustrated. Yeah, it's difficult, but we're going to continue to try and identify those kids that we believe belong at Rice, that I was told on the front end wanted that Rice education, and then things change for whatever reason. Now, we also have a new plan in place, you know, to try and tweak our recruiting a little bit, to really find kids that really, really value this place and this education, combined with our basketball program, to keep them here. Are we going to keep them all here? No. And if people think that, that's just not the world we live in. But we want to keep mostly all of them, or more. The other side of that is recruiting transfers now also helps them.
Yeah.
Because they've already transferred now to us. And now the roster isn't 13 high school kids with that higher risk of transferring. Maybe it's 8 and 5.
Yes.
Maybe it's 7 and 6. So now you reduce the chances of kids leaving just based on how you've changed your plan in your recruiting. And so that's what we did this spring. I love the freshmen we have on campus now. I love what our staff is doing recruiting the 21 class and 22 class. And that's why I'm so excited about the future.
What's your protocol for player evaluation when you're looking at different potential recruits to come into your program, and you're learning about their backstories and looking at their games? What are some of the mental checklists you go through to say, okay, this is a guy that's going to come here and fit with what we want to do at Rice?
The word fit is the big one. And I've used this in an interview the other day. I was on with somebody. I remember Mike Bray at Notre Dame years ago saying, you know, we recruit guys that fit us. We don't always recruit all the top 100 guys. And I think that's so true here for us. We want to find guys that fit A, Rice University, you know, B, our culture and our program, and then C, our style of play, because that's really important too, you know. And fortunately, because of the way we play, I think the recruiting has been attractive. You know, we play fast and we score a lot, and we shoot a lot of threes, and you can see the stats and all that stuff. And so that's a fun way to recruit. It's also a fun way to coach. the next step for us is to get better defensively. So what do you look at? Character, toughness. What kind of teammate are you? What do people say about your work ethic? And how self-motivated? Because at Rice, you have to be really, really self-motivated because you got to want to do well in the classroom and on the court because it's really important piece for all of us here. And so we look for those things and try and make that fit work on both sides. It's got to be both ways or it's not going to work.
Your star next year, I know you haven't really had a chance to be with your guys yet, but as you sort of mentally plot out a lot of the key pieces for next season, who are you looking at to make some big splashes and really come in a way that maybe they didn't as much a year ago?
I think there'll be multiple guys, and it could be a big group actually. But one of the also things I've been really proud of is the way we play. We were, I believe, the top 2 or 3 in the conference in assists. We share the ball. We don't have that guy, so to speak. I think we had 5 or 6 guys average between 7 and 13 last year, and I believe it'll be that way again this year. We have Malik Ondigo eligible from Texas Tech. He hasn't played. He's excited. He can make an impact inside for us. Be a little different than we have been down on the block. Max Fiedler, another big guy. Guys make a big jump as bigs from freshmen to sophomores. He showed signs last year. I mentioned Quincy Oliveri. He shot 38% from 3 as a freshman. Look for him to make a jump. And then the guys that have been here, Peyton Moore and Chris Mullins, who have been in the program and stayed with it, and are doing terrific in the classroom and have had great moments on the floor. Chris was all freshman 2 years ago in the league. Peyton hit the buzzer beater at Santa Barbara and helped us beat Penn. So consistency from those guys as well. And then the guys we brought in, we could get a whole bunch of contribution for them, and we're counting on them too.
The additions, I'm really excited to see how this is all added to the fold with you, because like you said, you've got freshmen, but you also have tapped into the transfer market as well. And so you're going to have a bevy of youngsters, but also a couple upperclassmen as well, which will help.
Yeah, I'm really excited about our freshmen. I think Noah, Cam, and Maligel can be terrific players here. I also know they need to understand it. It doesn't all happen immediately. They all had great, distinguished high school careers. I think they put us as a 3rd-ranked recruiting class in Conference USA on the one site. So we're really excited about those 3. And I think they can impact us. As can Jake Leeper, to average 23 a game at a junior college in Pima in Tucson last year. And our 5th-year seniors, like you mentioned, the older guys, I'm really excited about them as well. Eggy fits our style of play, and I think he's going to shine in that style of play because he can really pass and he's really fast. And Trey Clark from Furman, who comes from a program that has won a lot of games, and he played 20 minutes a game. He was on the floor for a lot of them, and we'll expand his role. He's one of the kids that has been cleared. I have been able to see him, and I think with what we do, he'll really thrive. So yeah, I'm anxious to get this group all together and see them play together.
Yeah, and hopefully that's sooner rather than later. My final question for you, Coach, and thank you so much for doing this. This has been really a blast. Scott Pera, Rice head coach. I'm Bryan Fenley with Fox Sports Radio. It is when you have a player who graduates and moves on from Rice, or anyone that you've ever had the privilege of coaching, and somebody asks them, what was it like to be coached by Coach Pera? What do you want to leave behind that they can use for the rest of their lives and say, yes, I love this time because of this reason?
I think number one, that they say he helped me grow or helped me become a man. Because these 4 years here are really important. And we say that to the parents on the front end, and when they drop them off just the other day, the freshmen, that I take this, and my staff take this very seriously, the responsibility we have to help your son reach his potential. And then I also stress that doesn't mean he's making the NBA. that doesn't mean he's going to average 20 points a game and play 40 minutes a game. I mean, reach his potential as a person, and leaves here as a young man that's ready to do well in the world, whether it be in the business world, the NBA, overseas, which we've coached a few of those as well. But that's the most important thing to me. And then also that we get to have a lifelong friendship moving forward, as they get older and understand why some of the things I did, and why maybe I was so tough on them at certain times and so demanding. That getting that feedback of them saying, "Coach, thank you," means the world to me.
If Scott Pera can have the effect that he had on James Harden and seeing what he's doing now, he can do that with others, and your players see that. And it is this infectious passion that you have. I'm excited to see this next step you guys take in Conference USA. And Scott Pera, thanks again for doing this. Hopefully when we get basketball playing, I get a chance to meet you in person and watch you guys continue to rise the ranks.
Bryan, I appreciate it. I really enjoyed it as well. I thought, you really did a good job with the questions. I enjoyed them, and made me think about some things I haven't thought of in a while, and that makes interviews enjoyable. I appreciate the time.